Which resolution?
I didn't even get
The one on the fire? Where is that? Michelle not put it in the packet?
I know I have it, because I have it. Because I sent it off.
I don't know.
The
fire truck?
Let me double check and see what I got in my other packet here.
No, I don't do it. I figured I'd get it.
Yeah, I'll get it after, but.
Maybe I.
What are you looking for, this?
All right. Good evening, everyone. The time is 6:45, and I'll now call this public hearing to order. Where is my paper? Yes, that's what I was looking for. So I'm just going to read this first. This is the legal notice of the public hearing that was published in the River East. This is Board of Selectmen legal notice of public hearing, June 7th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. Buck Foreman, Community Room, 265 Main Street, Portland, Connecticut. Pursuant to Section 506 of the Portland Town Charter, a public hearing will be held by the Board of Selectmen on Wednesday, June 7th, 2023 at 6:45 p.m. in the Buck Foreman Community Room to consider public comments and questions, both orally and in writing, on the requested use of $965,000 from the American Rescue Plan to replace engine number 2. Public access is also through Zoom link A, portlandct.org, dated this 18th day of May, attested Ryan J. Curley, First Selectman. So with that, that is why we're here for the public comment. The public comment is an opportunity for anyone in town who would like to address the board, both, you know, and give their comments positively, negatively on this allocation. Now's the time. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment on this proposed resolution? And I thank everyone for coming tonight too. It's great to see so many people. Take it you guys aren't here for the composting later. But I'm assuming most of the people, everyone here is in support of. Okay, just for the record, just so I see, I'm seeing lots of heads nodding.
Do we have a lot of folks calling in, Ryan?
Let me see. No, we don't have anyone
Okay.
on
Zoom. I was gonna say if we had
No, but
a
we'll
fair
give
number,
it.
we could maybe have an explanation, a brief explanation of the need for it again, but if there's nobody there, we know what we're doing.
Well, again, I mean, we've been through this process. I'll say I want to thank Bob and Ray as well for all your work putting this together, and the bids just came in higher than we were hoping for. So we thought we had a number previously. Due to the procedures that needed to be followed, we had to go out to bid this, and when we did that, like everything else, inflation crept in and costs went up, but so that's why it's an additional $115,000 from what this board had previously allocated, and so we can't control that, but we're here to make sure we get it. Everyone sure? No one second thoughts? They might. Yeah, with that, we'll close the public hearing at 6:49, being that there's no comments. So thank you all. The Board of Selectmen meeting will start at 7 p.m. So there's a little intermission, and then we'll get going with our regular meeting. So thank you all. And there's agendas on the table for those who just came in. If you'd like to pick up an agenda, good to see you, Dave. All right, so we'll reconvene at 7 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Hey, Norm. Hey, Nick, how you guys doing? Did you guys get agendas? There's agendas up here. If you need an agenda, are they? I have a couple extra agendas. You got one? Okay. If anybody needs an agenda, I got a couple more up here.
It's old.
Two more. In case anybody needs anything. You're all set? Okay.
Good morning, my respiratory. I won't be reading any long resolutions or anything, I don't think, today.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Philip? We know when we're ready.
7.
Oh, thanks. Good evening, everyone. The time is 7 p.m., and I'll now call this regular meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Would you all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. The next item on tonight's agenda is the acceptance of the agenda. Is there a motion?
I make a motion, we accept the agenda.
Thank you.
Second it.
Thank you both. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Next item is the approval of minutes from our regular meeting on May 17th. Has everyone reviewed those minutes?
Yes. I make a motion, we approve those minutes.
Great.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any errors, changes, or omissions? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. And then the next item is the approval of our special meeting on May 24th, 2023.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
Thank you, Ralph.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sean. Again, any errors, changes, omissions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, under communications and correspondence, I have a few items this evening. The first is that we have 3 proclamations, and we do have a very busy agenda tonight, and these are long proclamations, so we're not going to read all of them, or we're not going to read them, but I do want to talk about each one briefly. We have a proclamation for the Brownstone Quarries. We celebrated Quarry Day this past Saturday. And so I want to thank the Brownstone Quorum as well as Dean Susie and Darlene Rice at Quarry View. It was a really, really nice event. The Gasket Goons as well. So if everyone was down there, it was really nice to celebrate the quarries. And I presented both the Quorum and Quarry View with this proclamation. And it was a really, really nice event. So we'll post this, so if anybody wants to read the proclamations, I think it's online already, but the next one is we have Juneteenth coming up, and so I think this is the first year that it's been an observed holiday in the town of Portland, but we have issued a proclamation, I believe, for the past 3 or 4 years or so, and so I have this proclamation. We'll make sure that this gets up on our town website as well. And then it is June, and it is Pride Month, and we have a proclamation for Pride Month as well. And if you notice, I want to thank the Committee on Solidarity for all their work putting together. The banners are up, and Public Works helped get those up on Main Street, so thank you to that. And so we'll get this Pride Month proclamation up as well, but 3 good proclamations. Moving on under communications and correspondence, I have a lot of good news to share. So I found out yesterday that 2 Portland businesses were selected by the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce as Businesses of the Year. Birdon won Manufacturer of the Year, and Snyder Civil Engineering won Business of the Year for 30 employees or 31 employees or more. And so we're really, really proud of both of them. There were only 10 winners, and I feel like we got like 2 of the best categories. And And this is out throughout Middlesex County and beyond. You don't even have to be in Middlesex County. You just have to be a member of the chamber to win. So it's a big deal to get 2 Portland businesses to be award winners. And there's going to be a dinner to celebrate. I think it's June 29th. And the selectmen are invited. If anyone would like to attend with me, just let me know. And I can get you the details. But it's going to be at St. Clement's, right down the road here. So very proud of that. You may have seen, first, the town of Portland was named one of the top 8 friendliest towns in the state of Connecticut by worldatlas.com, which I had never heard of before, I must admit, before that. But I think it's a pretty cool thing, so it's nice. So keep up the good work, everyone, on being friendly. Thank you. The town of Portland has earned its climate leader designation through Sustainable CT. This is a big deal for the town. We're only one of 9 towns to have achieved this award so far, and it required a lot of work. You may remember that the town had earned its silver status through Sustainable CT, which was the highest level that you could obtain. Previously, back in 2021, the climate leader designation builds on that, and this was a lot of work from a lot of different people. Ryan O'Halpin is here with us, Dan Beret, our town planner, Pete Wilsey, our building official. Everybody really came together to make sure the solar panels at the biz helped. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts that got us this, but it's a good thing for the town. So, and then under communications and correspondence, I also want to congratulate our boys golf team for winning the state championships again. It's really cool to be saying this on a yearly basis now. Charles, how many years is that in a row? Is that 3 in a row?
Guarantee you 2 more.
Okay, I'm going to hold you to that. That's good. All right, and just a couple of things under communications. I did receive a couple letters regarding the summer hours at the transfer station. So and I share them with the board. I just want to mention that some residents have not liked the change, and so something that we may take into consideration in the future. But I just want to mention that. And with that, I think that's all I have under communications and correspondence. I'll open it up to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment publicly today on anything?
Liz.
Liz has her hand.
Okay.
Hi.
Hey, Liz, you're up.
Hey, thank you. I just came to say thank you for the Juneteenth proclamation that you mentioned, and the new, I think the Pride proclamation is newer. So thank you so much for mentioning those and putting them up on the website, and just for all of the support of the Solidarity Committee events, with putting up banners for us on the website to support our events and flyers. And also congratulations on the Climate Leader Award. That's wonderful news.
Thank you, Liz. And great. We'll give you a plug too. June 24th, right?
Yeah. So the flyers being put out there. So hopefully everyone's seeing it. But Juneteenth is Saturday, June 24th in Portland at the Riverfront Park, and we'll keep spreading the word.
Great. Thank you, Liz. Thank you. All right. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on to the monthly budget report. Our finance director, Tom Robinson, is here. Tom, would you? Actually, you know what? We could, yeah, we'll do it. I mean, we have all these people here. I'm wondering if we should do the fire. Maybe we'll do that first, Tom, if you don't mind. We'll come back to the report. So why don't we do that? Why don't we do the resolution on the American Rescue Plan funds, the $965,000 to replace engine number 2. We did hold a public hearing earlier this evening at 6:45. There were no comments during the public hearing, but as you can see in the audience, there seems to be a lot of support. And I want to thank our fire department for coming out today and showing your support. It's great to see you guys here, and it was also good to see you guys on Sunday too. We're watching you in action, and thank you for the ride, Ray. That was fun. With that, is there a motion?
I'll move the resolution, Ron. Resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, dated June 7th, 2023, today's date, correct? American Rescue Plan Funds Replacement of Engine Number 2. Whereas the Town of Portland is in receipt of American Rescue Plan funds, and whereas up to $10 million of ARPA funds can be used for a wide range of expenses due to the final rule regarding revenue loss, and whereas the town has a need to replace the current engine number 2 that as it approaches the end of its life cycle, and whereas $850,000 was approved by the Board of Selectmen on November 16th, 2022, and whereas bids have been received and reviewed and an additional $115,000 is needed to purchase the engine that most complies with the fire department specifications. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Selectmen of the Town of Portland hereby approves the use of ARPA funds up to $965,000 for the replacement of engine number 2.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Sean, any discussion on this? I know we've had a lot previously. Seeing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you. All right. We'll do the next one too while we're at it. The resolution, this is using American Rescue Plan funds for a generator replacement at Firehouse Company 3. Now this is, once again, using American Rescue funds, which would require another public hearing. We would hold that public hearing, I'm proposing, at 6:30 p.m. on June 21st. And so in your packets, you do have a resolution, and our fire chief is here with us this evening to talk about it if anyone has any questions. I do have some information that Chief Shea shared with me that I can pass around to you. I didn't put it in your packets because it was a lot of colored paper, but if anybody would like to see, this is what we're talking about. It's a 24 kilowatt generator, Bob? Yep. And I know this has been needed for quite some time at Company 3. So, right? Yeah. So once again, this is another one of those, you know, we're trying with our American Rescue Funds to utilize, you know, this money and these monies to take care of things that, you know, we would try to get through with capital, but this is another avenue, and it's been really beneficial for the town because, you know, by utilizing this American Rescue Fund money, we don't have to, you know, increase, you know, the mill rate. We don't have to, you know, put more into our capital fund. So this is, it's really been beneficial to the town, and I want to thank this body for you know, utilizing the money wisely, I think. So.
Can I, Bob, could you say, how old is the generator that's out at Company 3 now?
Bob, do you mind coming up to the mic? And, yeah, just so people can hear from home.
So, yeah, the generator Company 3 is as old as the building. We've had an awful lot of issues with it over the past 5 or 6 years. One of those issues is a very large concern for the health and safety of our firefighters. The generator is at an age where you can't repair it, and unfortunately, one of those areas of the generator is the manifold and exhaust system. So we did our very best by having one fabricated to help the CO levels in the building. Generator sits in our engine bay, which is directly below the offices of our firefighters, as well as the kitchen area and stuff. It's a very small building. It's really a large house, as you know. So we've been struggling with that. The generator overheats, which is normal for its age and wear and tear, as well as the manifold retrofit that we have. So it still does produce CO. We have to measure that. We really can't occupy the building, which we have to during storms because we do standby and stuff. So it's really been out of service for the past year and a half. It will run, but firefighters have to get up, go to the firehouse, turn it off in the middle of the storms, let it cool down, open the doors, which is not good for our heat, and then, you know, get back to start it back up so we can keep our fire trucks and miscellaneous equipment such as AEDs and suction units and everything else charged. So, yeah, we're there. We certainly are there, and this is a good opportunity to fund it without. So we were able to, we got some, you know, big quotes over the past 2 or 3 years for generators, you know, throughout our houses, the 3 of them. And, you know, I got to give credit to Tommy Gent, the captain up at 3Z. He went out, and we got an expert to come in and look at the size of the building and see exactly what we need. So we have to do some upgrades, which the proposals and the numbers that I have include that as well for the electrical service, which will be helpful for us up there as a whole for the building, but it also will, you know, we'll be able to power that generator. And a Generac, we don't need a lot of kilowatts, because what we're doing is just trying to heat the building and keep those low voltage LED miscellaneous stuff charged. So this will lead us into the future there until things are changed as far as the firehouse many years from now. So we're looking forward to that change so we can occupy. That's one of the toughest areas to man during big winter storms and stuff. We want to make sure that that house is manned. And want to make sure the guys in it are kept warm and safe from CO. Yeah.
So what would be the turnaround time for getting this? And I know we've often talked about turnaround time.
It's good.
So.
It's not too bad. You know, obviously we'll have to go out to bid, so that'll take a little time, but I already have the bid written. It's in the hands of the finance director for review. If we have to tweak it, we will, but so that's a good thing. We'll get it out for a few weeks. I think we'll have a lot of hits on, you know, this particular. There's an awful lot of electrical companies that do this type of work. Included in this is a separate, we'll work off a state bid for the propane. I've already spec'd all that out. We'll be increasing our propane because that's what the generator runs off of, which is efficient. So we'll be increasing our propane load up there, which is fine. So we'll be purchasing the tanks. We're not going to be leasing them, so that we'll have the ability to shop around, certainly for propane if needed. And, you know, that unit will only be supplied by that gas, so we're not looking at a large expense unless, again, we have big storms and it runs. But, you know, we're going to supply enough storage and capacity for that to run for more than 3 days before it needs to be filled. But obviously, we won't probably need it for 24 hours. We try to maintain our generators if we're not there, so that'll be included as well. We'll use a state bid contract for that, and I've already sourced that out, and we'll work through those details as well. But I don't expect a long lead time. We hope to get this thing done certainly before our new season. Hopefully it's, you know, by September, hurricane season, you know, but the big concern is winter.
So this is an electrical upgrade, generator, and pad?
Yep.
That it sits on?
Yeah, so the
And
pad
tank
is
too, right?
included, which isn't really a big deal for a Generac, which is kind of nice. So,
Yep.
you know, they'll prep the area, which is not much. So that'll be part of that'll be part of the generator installation and bid. And then the only thing that we'll do is we'll certainly look at a few state bid vendors that supply propane. Many of those don't sell. They like to lease their container, you know, their cylinders. But we know that one that we specifically spoke with does that. So, but there's others that we want to look at. So we wanted to give everybody an option on that side of it to certainly give us a number. Because that really, you know, that's pretty cut and dry, what we need. So we'll let them fight it out, see what we can do for a number there.
One of the most important things is that this is now an automatic transfer, where before you had to have a firefighter go up there and sit there and watch it and maintain it,
Yeah, I forgot about that part.
right? This automatic transfer is the most important part.
Exactly, Mike. So
Okay.
we're out there, you know, you know as well as I do, we're out there, we could be fighting a fire at a bad traffic accident or can't get to the firehouse, and that's not gonna start unless somebody digs their way through manually to get up there and flip the switch. So that just tells you how old it is.
Yeah, I think it's great.
Thank you.
You guys definitely need it out there, so.
I'm good.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
All
Bob.
right, you're welcome.
Thanks, Bob.
So with that, would someone like to make a motion to hold a public hearing at 6:30 PM on June 21st for the purpose of utilizing American Rescue Funds to fund a generator at Company 3 and related propane tank replacement?
I make that motion.
Thank you, Sean.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Ralph. Any further discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. All right, thank you. All right, so with that, I think now we'll move to the monthly budget report. Thank you for being patient with us, Tom.
Thanks, Tom. So you guys can go. I had a feeling you said that.
All right. Good evening. So starting on page 1, account ending in 00101, educational cost sharing. Due to some of the some adjustments, the educational cost sharing grant came in fully and actually exceeded the revenue slightly, which that is a positive scenario. Going down, looking through to the account 00314 and 00315, recording fees and miscellaneous town clerk. The current rate here, we need about 30% more to get to our 100%. We're seeing the impact of higher interest rates. There are lower refinancing, and there's less home purchases and transfers. And then on 00324, you'll see here that that there's private duty is already over by 104,000, and we will also have May and June to collect. So you'll see later on we're requesting a supplemental appropriation for revenue and supplemental appropriation of estimated revenue and of the expense associated with that, and gas and diesel related. 00328 is structural permits. Structural 254,000 has always been a challenging number for the department to get to, but they are at 208,000. So they're it's a pretty strong number for the department, and we still have June to go. That's all I have on revenues. We had touched upon most of the other things last report. On page 1 of the expenditures, under the Board of Selectmen, obviously the cost of the running the meetings here has caused the program services to go over. Probably it'll go over by another. It's already go over about 980. It'll probably go over by another 250 to 500. By June is over. Probate court, that was over slightly by $188. I think we didn't have an updated budget number on that one when we did the budget. We had the budget that we thought it was, but then there was a revised budget that came out from the probate court. On page 2, elections. More or less the canvassing is really left for them to work on and get paid for. It's possible to go over, but it's the budget's doing pretty good, as we've had some other grant activity that had come in as well. So they did a pretty good job managing that this year. On page 3, IT, nothing different than what we had talked about. We have some overages and overtime. Overages and licensing is there's more requirements for the cybersecurity and some of the transitions there that are required, and then network maintenance, as we didn't have an assistant tech coordinator for a good portion of the year, so we had to overexpend on our third-party consultants. Page 5 is police department. As I said, private duty, you can see here we're already 77,000 over. I think we're requesting a $95,000 a number there, and then gas and diesel still needs to be recorded for a few of the months there. So we're looking for about 9,000 there, as it's been averaging around, somewhere between around 4,000. Page 11. Municipal agent of the elderly. This is the van rides and various service rides for the seniors. As expected, that is continuing to go over, and that was a known. First Selectman Curley is reviewing that. Was doing it with the senior director. Senior director has left. I think there is a new one coming, and they'll continue to work through that. Just going back to police for a second, and the police are looking to upgrade their weapons as the state has changed the weapon that they utilize, and the police department is looking to work with the state of Connecticut vendor. Not exact pricing, but it's a similar gun to what the state is utilizing, with some possible trade-in on the current weapons, as well as some trade-in on a different vendor with the ammunition. So all in, probably around a $13,000 or so worth of purchase, and that will be. I'm sure that the police will discuss that further. But I just wanted to, bring attention that is possibly a likely scenario that we could try to get accomplished in this fiscal year as the need arises for the public safety. And then going through the remainder of the accounts, didn't really have anything else on the remainder of the accounts after that. Anybody have any further questions on the reports, or? I continue to seek out a ZEO, so the zoning enforcement officer, so anybody knows that wants to apply for zoning enforcement officer, we're looking for such an officer.
It is true, we've been looking for quite some time.
Yeah.
Any questions for Tom?
No, I'm good.
No?
Looks
No
good.
questions?
All set.
All right, good. Thank you,
all.
Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Good report. Almost year end, one more month.
Then it starts all over.
And we'll do it again. All right, the next item, as Tom alluded to in his budget report, is a resolution before you in your packet on a supplemental appropriation for police private duty expense and gas and diesel expense, and an increase to estimated police private duty revenue. And with this, we would need to set both a public hearing as well as a special town meeting that would be held on June 21st. And so this is something that happens regularly in the town of Portland, where previously we've had a lot of, as you all may remember, we've had our bridge construction that's been going on that's now completed. But during that bridge construction, our police private duty went through the roof because they were stationed at the bridge. And so we charge the entities, the state, for that police private duty. And then when those, at the same time, we have to pay our officers, but the town does turn a profit from that. Is that correct, Tom? We do receive more money from?
Yeah, there's an admin charge associated with it, the police department generates. That's on non-town projects.
Yeah, a non-town, and I should specify, a non-town project. So one of the reasons why we have an overage in the account this year is because of the fiber optics that Frontier has been laying out throughout the town. You may have seen the Frontier trucks, and they have to have police officers stationed at them. So Frontier is now paying, for that police private duty. So that is why we need to do that this year primarily. Oh, Middletown, okay. Thank you. Middletown's been hiring our officers as well.
So just to be clear, we're increasing the line item amount, but we're going to get the revenue to reimburse that.
Correct, yeah. So the expense has to be increased because our revenue is also increased. There is a resolution, if, actually, no, we need to set a public hearing and a special town meeting. And so in your, on your agenda, you'll see, I'm proposing that the public hearing be at 6:40 PM on June 21st, and then the special town meeting be held at 6:50 PM. So I would entertain a motion to set both the public hearing and the special town meeting date for the purpose of the supplemental appropriation for police private duty expense and gas and diesel expense as we increase to the estimated police private duty revenue.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
I'll second that.
Thank you both. And just to clarify for Sharon on that, that's 6:40 PM, did you get that, for the public hearing? And then 6:50 for the special town meeting? All right, good. So, any further discussion? With that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Great. All right, the next item in your packet is another resolution on a possible supplemental appropriation. Now, this is two important items in our capital plan as well. I see Dr. Britton is here for the Portland Public Schools, as well as Bob Shea again. And let me just pull up that resolution. So both Bob and Charles are here to answer any questions that you may have, but the way I understand it is there is a grant that the town has received to be used for much needed communication equipment at our secondary schools for the purpose of school security. That grant is in jeopardy of possibly timing out, so expiring. So if we're going to get these radios and equipment that we need for the school security, we need to act through a supplemental appropriation. And the cost of that would be $80,000. And then the second item on this supplemental appropriation is for $125,000 to assist the town in a new roof replacement at Town Hall. Public Works Director Ryan O'Halpin is here, and he and we can all attest to the shingles that we find as they've fallen off the roof, and it is long past due. We have had some what do you call it, flooding or some drainage issues on the roof. We had a situation last year where water was seeping through the town hall, and it was caused some damage. And so this is something that we've been putting off, honestly, I think as long as we possibly can.
That's the original roof, I think, isn't it?
It might be.
I think it might be.
So anyways, like I said, those are the two items for the supplemental appropriation. And why don't I read the supplemental appropriation just so everyone can hear it? But again, this will be another one where we have to have a public hearing and a special town meeting. But I'll read this resolution so everyone knows what we're talking about. Whereas Portland Public Schools recently received a reimbursement of a state grant in the amount of $8,724.06 for school security competitive grant program, and whereas Portland Public Schools is in need of radios and additional security upgrades, and whereas Portland Public Schools may be able to get reimbursed by a grant at approximately 52% of funds as spent by the required grant deadline, and whereas $80,000 in addition to the $8,724.06 are needed for radios and other security upgrades, and whereas roof replacements are needed on town-owned buildings with an emphasis on the town hall, and whereas the Public Works Director is seeking $125,000 to assist in the roof replacement projects. Now therefore be it resolved that the Portland Board of Selectmen hereby approves the supplemental appropriation from the general fund balance in the amount of $205,000. The allocations of supplemental appropriations for general fund are increases to the line item number 01-093-000-90012, transfers out capital non-recurring town by $125,000, and increases to account 01-093-000-90013, transfers out capital non-recurring Board of Ed by $80,000. The funds will be transferred to Fund 8 as follows. Account 08141000891010, Board of Education System-Wide Board of Education Security Upgrades, including doors, $80,000, and account 08141000899090, Public Works Building Maintenance Roof Replacements, $125,000. Be it further resolved that the Board of Selectmen hereby approves an increase in estimated revenues for state grants in account 08141000000214 in the amount of $8,724.06 for a school security competitive grant, and a supplemental appropriation to account 08141000891010 Board of Education wide Board of Education security upgrades, including doors, for $8,724.06. So that is the resolution that, if approved, it would need to be approved at, again, a special town meeting, as well as holding that public hearing. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah, I got a few for Bob, if he could come up.
Okay.
Okay, so in total, it'll be $88,724, correct? You have $8,724 and you need another $80,000? And
Correct.
what's the breakdown between the radios and the doors? And
It's just a line item for doors. It's just the way it's stated. It's just radios.
It's just radios?
Yeah, the doors is the way the line item is identified in the capital plan.
And is this just radios, or is it a whole new communications that just?
I could talk to you
portables,
about
or-
it a little bit. It's been something
Yeah.
that's been in the works for about a year and a half. I started working on it with Carl as part of the public safety team at the school as a representative from the fire department. So the communication system currently at the schools is weak to say the least. We can't talk to other schools. We have no communication with our dispatch center, and the radios are not on a digital platform, so they're almost like a visual type of thing, almost like our simplex radios in the fire department. So they have very little reach, and in today's security issues that we have, we're having some difficulty with that. So what we did was put together a platform working with two different vendors that came in and studied the entire school, looked at our distances between schools and the existing platform that we have, and the ability to work off of that platform that we have on our emergency really tower. And we came up with a proposal that is going to retrofit the entire system with a digital platform, using a repeater system off of the tower through the microwave, which each faculty staff, each teacher, each administrator, basically over 110 people will have the capability of having a radio, be able to talk to the other schools, and have an emergency channel to dispatch, which is a key. What that's going to allow is dispatch to be able to, in a very quick way, relay information to us as needed, as well as other schools in the event of an emergency. So it's something that is critical. We really don't have that other than a 911 system now. And you'll have your radio, you have your cell phone. You might not be where your desktop is, but the radios and the portables are carried each and every day by everyone, and the teacher has them available in their room, especially for a lockdown situation. So it's very helpful. It includes all that hardware, all that installation, as well as the work at dispatch to be able to do that interface. So it's probably one of the cheapest systems that we can do, but it's going to be able to do what we need it to do.
And what's the estimated cost?
The estimated cost of the project is about anywhere from 80 to 88. We have some estimates, but like I said, this is older. So, working with Tom, we kind of come up with an area with some contingency. I did talk to the vendors. We're still into that time frame, hopefully for delivery. We're getting close. I think it's the end of September for this grant that we really have to close out. There's potential for some extension due to delays. But this particular platform, not like ours that we work off of, certainly the $8,000 portables, we're going to be able to outfit all the schools efficiently and to be able to ramp up that communication where we have to be. To be perfectly honest with you, we're non-compliant on that end. And, I think this is the cheapest way to move into that new platform and be able to get done what we have to do. There's an awful lot of other work, but this is one that really needs to be done.
I know you were working with Carl on this, but you pretty much just inherited this. Is there a reason why this wasn't put in long-range capital at any point that you know of? I know.
No, it was. The request was there, but during the budget deliberations, you guys had a really tough job to do, and I think some of those things slid away. But we received the grant notification, kind of during that time, and I mean, it's an opportunity. I mean,
Right.
we'll be receiving, funds back, hopefully if the project is successful, which I guarantee it will be. So it's one of those things. We've had conversations for quite some time. It's very difficult when we apply for grants to give up that opportunity because this is a good one. And the thing is, it's moving forward on those additional grants from years to come. You don't want to give back because then you might be at the end of the list. So. And we've talked about, grant match funding and stuff like that for many, many years, and this is just another area that it's kind of so important because we go out, we try to write as many grants as we can to certainly assist the town. We've been doing it forever in the fire department, and we're continuing doing it here. So, I mean, this project it changed. When I took over in July, we brought it to the end where we really designed the platform. Just knowing a little bit more about it and having, those engineers that I've worked with before in public safety, we were able to put something together. So hopefully we'll get a good number. We don't really know, but the number and the estimate that we have, we think is a very good one with contingency.
And you'll be able to run one repeater off the...
Yeah, we're going to use the existing microwave link that we have, that Middletown has for us, and they'll be able to do that for us. There's also the possibility, and we're hoping that's going to happen, and we think it will, that they can actually patch the PD into our radios, which is, if we have a key point of communication, which we would certainly send up as a unified command right away, we might be able to, if it's a SWAT team, if it's, whatever it may be, we can link that individual person that's going to be that key contact point for location or what's going on right into our responding units. So we have no communication. Including the fire department. As you know, we've lost our communication. We're hoping that our grant will be successful on the fire side to be able to do that. But we're really kind of on two different islands now because things are advancing so much. So we used to be able to talk to our police on our radios on the fire side, and we can't. So we're trying to move in that direction. The schools are really important.
Hey, Bob, just to be clear, in the resolution it's worded, I understand the $8,700 is state grant money that we have, and we have to use or we lose. but then you're looking for an additional 80,000 on top of that, but is it correct to say that of that $80,000, we're looking for approximately up to 52% of that could be reimbursed?
That's
Is that
correct,
the
I
way-
believe it's a 54%.
Okay. It says 52 on here, but, so,
Just to clarify, on security grants, and this is how we've been doing this, there's multiple times we've received security grants over the years. So when the money, so often the money is if possible, it's upfronted by the general fund. And that's kind of probably where this 8,000 came from. So the way to get that back into the board, into more security, and that's the whole intent of usually those grants, is to give it back to the board to buy more security as they further along. So we had put in some monies, we got money back. That's this 8,000 that we're increasing the grant, and we're increasing the expense. That can be utilized for additional cameras, which are greatly needed, or indoors, or any other system. With that, the grant that's out there is this the $80,000 is possibly could get reimbursed. So you spend what you can of the 80,000, possibly you get reimbursed at a 52%. In the future, when that money comes in, it could be a year or two, we will come back, probably ask you to do the same type of thing, where you increase the revenue, increase the expense, and we would re-spend the money. It's like you can't keep re-spending it until you can. With the 80,000, the 8,000, you can't really re-spend it and then go ask for more again, because it's already grant money that came in. So that's, so we're that check, that inflow has come in. I just, I've received the wire on it, so I have it. So I just want to be able to deposit in the account, in the revenue account. But then with that being said, if knowing that this grant was going to expire, and the great need that there are there to protect the children, it seemed like a great way to get this accomplished in a timely manner. But I just wanted to explain that part about the 8,000.
yeah, thanks for the
and
clarification,
80,000.
Tom. I just thought we wanted to make that clear.
Bob?
Yep.
I know with the, evolution of technology is so rapid and everything, has the vendor said anything like, I know we like to use the term like out of date or whatever. Did they say these are good for X amount of years? Or are we going to be looking in a couple of years?
What's the life expectancy of this system?
Yeah, I mean, this particular radio on a digital platform is fairly new, so that's hard to say, because, I mean, we made it 20 years on our fire department stuff, until most recently are the parts being difficult, but I think we're going to be good. The radio portables themselves can interchange, because it's a digital platform, so if we have to start changing out radios in piecemeal in the future, which you might have to do, we're not going to have to change the infrastructure that's in place.
And these will have a warranty package all
Yeah.
included on this
These will all be warranted, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, full warranty packages, which Motorola, it's all a Motorola package. That seemed to be the best that we could find to do the work, so we're hoping to put it through, that program. We've had good luck with Motorola products because they're interchangeable between departments, so.
Okay.
Any other questions on either of the projects?
No, just the roof one, it's just the town hall? Or is, because
Well-
the way it's worded, it says town-owned buildings, multiple
It
buildings.
is, but, and where's Tom? I don't know. Did he?
He exited.
Or Ryan, who's Ryan though?
But, yeah.
Tom said I like Ryan better.
So it's just for town hall, but in case there's extra money, we could then use it another building, maybe here, Buck Foreman, or any other town building.
So there are other town buildings that are coming up that would be needed work?
Yeah.
So, all right, it's a little
I
cushion.
don't have anyone in mind
Right,
right
it's
now,
just a little
but
cushion, but if you, okay. I
at
got
some
it.
point, we're gonna need to,
I didn't know if you already had something in place,
This
but,
is
No.
standard how we word the resolutions, just in case there is overage, we can put it towards another roof project.
yeah, so there's contingency in there. We might not go up to the 125. If we have another 20, 30,000 left over, then that'll stay there for other roof projects. would be the idea.
When you're pricing this out to the vendors, are you like asking for a certain 30-year shingle, 40, 50-year shingle? Are you like, do you have a specific number that you're looking for? Because I know the price will increase depending on the shingle.
I can't say what exact shingle actually was
Okay.
in the quote, but
Again, I don't want to do this in my lifetime again, so I'd like to see a
I
50-year, 40 or 50-year shingle.
I agree. I know minimum's 30, so it's yeah,
I mean,
something
that's,
I'll
I
look,
guess what I'm asking, you going for the minimum?
I'll look
for the
into
price,
and see
or-
the price difference for sure
Okay.
before the project gets started.
All right,
It's a
thank
good
you.
idea.
All right.
we're
Any other
good.
questions for Ryan while he's up here? So we need a motion to hold to set a public hearing and special town meeting on June 21st for the purpose of a supplemental appropriation for capital plan improvements. And I'm proposing that we hold the public hearing at 6:45 PM and the special town meeting at 6:55 PM. Is there a motion?
I make that motion.
I'll second the motion.
All right, any further discussion on this?
I have one thing I'd just like to discuss. So when we have this motion, asking the board's opinion on having two separate votes instead of bundling them, because I know in the past, well, for instance, like when we've had the new park and the infrastructure everything was bundled, and a lot of people were upset. Like, some people didn't want the park, but they needed infrastructure, so they were kind of like, well, if I need one, I gotta do both. But I'm saying we have an opportunity to separate the two. Do you want to call for two votes, or do you want to keep it bundled as one? Is that, if you guys want to talk about that, or how do you guys feel about that?
I think it should be separate. Because if somebody wants one but not the other, they're not being forced to vote one way.
I'm going with separate, just because I'm the same reason as what Bobby just said, and the time difference is nothing, so it ain't like we're,
Well, I mean, we have a motion on the floor, so, I mean, Sean, would you like to amend
I
your
could
motion?
amend that.
well, I mean, do you guys
Is there
have
a
a,
consensus from the body? I don't know what you guys, is there any other thoughts on this?
Is there any, I mean, is it bundled because the grant money is such that it has to be, or can we separate them out?
I mean, you could have two questions. You could, I would have to double check with our town clerk, just to, make sure, but I don't believe there's anything holding us back from having one special town meeting, but having two votes at the meeting. I guess you could ask, you could have a vote for the
grant and then a vote for the roof.
Yeah, just basically take this resolution, split it into two separate resolutions.
Yeah.
One for the roof and one for the school.
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, I would have to double check on that. I don't think there's an issue with that, but, yeah, so if you guys wanted to do it like that, we can. Keep in mind, it's, yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys if that's what you want.
Because it would be the same meeting with two separate
questions.
votes, two different questions. So it's
I
not
just don't
we're-
like bundling multiple things together. And if you don't support both things, but you have to vote for both,
Right.
because it's one question.
I mean, yeah, I will point out both things are badly needed, though.
No,
mean,
I-
it's not
No, but I
like
mean, the public should have the
schools-
choice of, I want to support this but not support this, or they can support both with votes, with yes votes.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
Sean, you can amend your motion. So to amend? so
To
that
amend the
there's-
motion to have two separate votes, one for the grant for the public school security competitive grant program, and one vote for the
Town-owned building.
town-owned
Roof
roof
replacement.
replacement on the town hall.
Well, and I would just, I'll second it, but I would just amend that, the conversation we had a few minutes ago.
Roof replacement
It's
project.
roof replacement for town-owned buildings with emphasis on the town hall. So we have the flexibility with those funds.
Yes.
Perfect.
So the public hearing will be 6:45, and then the special town meeting will be at 6:55, so we'll have to have two votes
Two
at
votes.
that, in 5 minutes.
Right.
but
We'll get it done.
We'll get it done, I guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so a motion's been made and seconded Any further discussion on this? I guess we already did that.
No more discussion.
I guess we did discuss it. So I'll call for the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. All right, thank you all. The next item this evening is a potential resolution in your packets on Blue Earth composting. Now, Ryan O'Halpin is here on this one as well. This is an item that has drawn a lot of attention statewide recently. You may have seen there's been some bills back and forth, and I think have been passed now on requirements for municipal waste, and you know, right now we're, as you all know, our trash system in the state is not in an ideal place where we're actually hauling most of our trash to landfills out of state, which is not an ideal solution, or a sustainable one at that. And so one potential solution to reduce our municipal solid waste is through composting. And this is something that a number of towns have been looking into recently. It seems to be the way of the future right now. And so we've had a number of residents that have requested that we have at least a pilot program where we try a composting program out. It seems as though Blue Earth, which is the company that we have here, is basically the only company that is in this area. And so Ryan and I actually went out on a little field trip to Glastonbury last week to their new composting Blue Earth setup, which is behind their town hall. And I have a picture of that here that I can pass around to you. This is what it looks like. And then with that, they have a lot of, they have a flyer that's made, and this is basically there's a press release that goes into it, and this basically talks a little bit about it. And let's see, so the cost to do this would be $252. I'll just pull the resolution. $252 a month for a pilot program. There you go. Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you.
So this is a way we would be able to reduce our waste by encouraging residents to compost and actually give them the option to do so. I think we could put these bins at outside of our town transfer station, and I think that if we give people the option to do this, I think that it would be very popular in town. And so when we were talking with Mike from the town of Glastonbury, who met us out there and was kind of going over this, he said that you have three types of people. You have the people that are never going to, compost, recycle, no matter what. They're not going to compost. And then you have the people that are always, they're going to, go out of their way to compost. And then you have I think most people are probably in the middle, and they're like, well, we would compost if we had the opportunity to do so. And if you make it, easy to do, we'll do. And so that's really what this program tries to capture. It tries to capture, the people who want to compost, but also that middle ground who may just need a nudge in the right direction. And this would also reduce our waste and hopefully with that lessen our expenses on municipal waste as well. So it's really it does have potential cost-saving measures to it. And Ryan and I both thought that this was something that was worth this board's consideration. And Ryan, do you want to come up and answer any? I guess I'm going on here, but you're the expert when it comes.
Covered most of it. Does anyone have any questions about it? I'll just start there.
Do they have any idea, like Glastonbury, how much they saved in tonnage over the course of
Not
however
yet.
long?
They've only been doing it for 3 months.
3
now.
months, yeah.
So they're still new.
Does the company
So-
keep track of what they pick up? Like they would be able to tell us at the end of the year, this is how much we took from the town of Portland?
How many tons? I don't think they are.
We just have
Okay.
to go by what we're,
Yeah,
Keep
so we
track
don't
of
know
them
if
the
those
other-
bins are full to the top and compacted down, or if they're, a quarter of the way up.
Okay.
You don't
That's
think they
something
weigh
we
it?
would have to keep an eye on, I think.
Okay. You don't think they weigh it? I wouldn't be, no? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But, yeah, we could keep an eye on it and estimate, how much tonnage, and then obviously compare our tonnage of municipal waste from year to year to see if there was a savings. Could look at it, say next March, or before then, to see if there's a difference in numbers from year to year.
So
I think
th-
that'd be the best way to tell.
This is something that we would be tied into for a year? It's like a 1-year minimum?
We could bail any month.
Okay.
So it's a monthly charge, $252 a month. If we decided it's not working out by the end of the summer, it stinks and no one's using it, or animals are getting in it and it's a problem.
Okay.
We could, say, hey, we're out, and they take the bins back and we pack it up. But,
So there's bins involved, you said maybe at the transfer station, but it also this document you handed out talks about if anybody's interested, you provide them the countertop bag and things like that?
no, this is just an example out of Wilton
Okay.
and what they did.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be supplying containers. I think we were talking about possibly bags.
Some bags,
Um,
maybe stickers.
As requested. I don't think we're gonna go around and hand out bags door to door, but if people maybe come to town hall, maybe we have a set of compostable bags that they could take home to get them started.
Is there a volume discount for that? So say the schools got involved and did their own thing, would we be able to save money on both ends if we did that?
I think the price just doubles as you double the amount of bins that you're using. Yeah, and,
Based on bids,
yeah.
not as much as.
I'd say that would be a huge amount from the schools.
Yeah, so in Glastonbury, they are trying to get the whole program implemented in the schools, and I think they're getting pushback up there. But you would get a lot of food scraps, obviously, out of the schools, but the kids would need to be the ones to put the trash into the right bins, and that's gonna be tough to do. So that would, they were talking about getting older students involved in helping younger students on which bins to put what trash. But that's not where we're going here, but that would be something to look at down the road.
Would this just be for residential or like Portland Care and Rehab and Greystone Retirement Home? I mean, they could have huge quantities. Would they be dumping there as well if they wanted to?
If they wanted to.
Restaurants,
Yeah, any resident in town.
Any
But,
any business too, like restaurants?
With all the
This is
waste.
primarily geared for residents.
Geared for
Well, I'm just saying,
residents,
is there
but
anything to say that they can't?
there is nothing that says that they can't.
Okay.
But they would
Grocery
probably
store?
fill up the bins pretty quickly.
Yeah.
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 Where'd you say the bids were going to be? Are they gonna be?
So the spot we preliminary picked out was on the left side of the transfer station before the gate. That way any resident can dump there and they don't need a transfer station permit to go inside. And it's also a spot we pass by regularly that we could check to see if batteries or something that's not supposed to be dumped in there are being dumped in there. And it's far enough away that it's not gonna smell at the transfer station office, and it's visible.
Adams could have a ton of it a week.
I will note that Glastonbury, they've had it for 3 months. They have not had any issues with animals or anything so far, so knock on wood. for that.
Glastonbury was very positive
Yeah,
about
they
the
really-
program so far.
Yeah, and they said it was very well recepted by the residents as well. They really.
Is theirs inside or outside their transfer station?
It's at a remote transfer station behind Town Hall, so they have cardboard bins and recyclable bins for single stream, and then they put this right in the middle of all that, and there's no one monitoring down there. Just the supervisor goes there once or twice a day to make sure things are being properly disposed of.
I spoke with 2 of the transfer station employees, and they weren't in favor of it. But just like everybody else, they're skeptical of it, I'm sure. I wouldn't mind doing the pilot program, and if we are on a month by month, because maybe they just need to warm up to it too. But I had talked to them, and said that I agree with him. I wouldn't want something at my place of work if I didn't want it there.
Yeah, which is part of the reason we're not putting it right next to them as well.
Yeah, so I'll give it a chance because they should too. I agree. So if they don't like it at the end of the summer, we can stop it. My only other thought was, like Glastonbury did at a remote station, is there a possibility to maybe put it down by the animal shelter down there under the bridge where there's nobody?
Yeah, we could still look into different sites before we start the program. We have a few weeks, nothing set in stone, so yeah, it's something Ryan and I can discuss before we come up with a final location.
Yeah, because near the sewer plant, they wouldn't really complain.
I'd be worried about larger rats knocking it over, not bears.
That's something.
But, yeah, I feel for them because they don't want it. But again, maybe there's something new, they're not used to it.
Yeah, and anywhere we put it, we just got to run it by whoever's going to be
Next
down
to it.
there.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
if we put it by the sewer plant, we've got to talk to the sewer plant employees to make sure they're actually going to check the bins as well, and to make sure that, well, they're used to smells, but you know,
Yeah.
it'll add to it.
Once a week.
Once a
There's
week, yeah.
So once a week. They bring, the residents would bring,
Compostable bags
Yeah.
or containers that they could dump the organics
so-
out.
yeah.
You either buy them yourself, or we were talking.
We'll most likely have some compostable bags to give away, you know, in the beginning, but it would be up to residents to purchase if they want to participate in the program, you have to buy the bags. You can go on Amazon and buy compostable bags. They're not very expensive, and you can do this. You can do this now. I mean, if you wanted, I guess you could drive to Glastonbury. In fact, they said Glastonbury had these starter kits that they handed out. And apparently, there was a woman from Portland who wanted one of the starter kits, and they told her no. So, so hopefully that woman will be able to use this in Portland, so we'll solve that problem.
The only question I actually had to do with those recyclable bags. I could envision your guys coming to check and have a dumpster that's 3/4 full, and down the bottom is a bag full of recyclables that's not in a compostable bag. Then what do you do?
Yeah, there's not much we can do. I mean, it's happened in Glastonbury where things go there that aren't supposed to be there. I wouldn't expect our guys to dig through, say, in the middle of the summer, the meats are in
This
the middle.
Blue Earth
and-
doesn't kick it back to you
Yeah.
or anything.
No.
do
So
they?
it's something you just keep an eye on. If there's something on top that shouldn't be in there, you could grab that, but I'm not gonna expect anyone
No.
to fish inside. Yeah, I mean, Blue Earth,
Blue Earth is still going to have
Expects
a sorting.
a certain
thing once
amount.
they still have to sort it to
Yeah.
make sure that nothing goes through, that they So then, just so you know, so Blue Earth will take this and haul this to Quantum Biopower, and it's a State Department of Energy and Environmental Protection approved anaerobic digester in Southington. And so what they do with this food is that they actually they turn it into a methane gas, and then they use that methane gas to power a generator and turn that into electricity. So it's actually, that's what happens with this, is it actually becomes electricity. So it's pretty cool to do. It's something that, it says here, it's estimated about 25% of the waste stream is food. So this cuts into that. And honestly, I think it's a win for everybody, provided that people want to participate. And so I think we should give them the chance to do so. And we can, if it's not popular, we can always revisit it and end the program, but I do think it'll be successful, so.
yeah,
think
I'll
it's
just
worth
note
a
that
try.
if it is really popular, we may need to increase pickups or, get more bins or more locations. It's possible that this expands, it's possible it goes away, just so everyone's aware.
All right.
Yes.
It is, but Norm, we can't take questions like from the, yeah, no. But it is, I'll answer
Is this
that.
the same company from Middletown?
So it's in, Blue Earth is in 13 towns, they're in, 8 of which are in Middlesex County, Glastonbury, Essex, Branford, Haddam, East Haddam, Wilton, Woodbury, Deep River, Old Saybrook, Westbrook, Middletown, Guilford, and Cromwell all use Blue Earth. So it seems to be, like I said, they're the only real game in town when it comes to this. And everybody that we've talked to has had nothing but positive things to say. So with, seeing that, we felt a trial was warranted for a year. Would you like to move?
Sure, I'll move the resolution. Resolution, Board of Selectmen, Town of Portland, Connecticut, June 7th, 2023. Blue Earth Compost Incorporated. Whereas the Town of Portland seeks to reduce the total tonnage of municipal solid waste generated at our transfer station facility, and whereas a number of nearby towns have implemented successful composting programs using Blue Earth Compost Incorporated, and whereas Blue Earth Compost Incorporated appears to be the sole provider of larger scale composting pickup services in our area, and whereas Blue Earth Compost Incorporated has a starter program for a weekly compost pickup service of 2 64-gallon containers for the cost of $252 a month or $3,024 a year, and whereas signage and startup material cost is estimated to be approximately $1,000, and whereas the total annual cost for this program may change based on resident participation and may also be offset by less total tonnage of municipal solid waste transported from our transfer station facility. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Portland Board of Selectmen approves a 1-year trial program beginning July 1st, 2023, with Blue Earth Compost Incorporated to be managed by the Resource Recovery Department, and be it further resolved that the first selectman and/or his designee has the authorization to extend the program should it be deemed successful, and be it further resolved that the Portland Board of Selectmen approves an allocation of up to $1,000 in fiscal year 2023 from town contingency for necessary startup costs associated with this new composting initiative.
I'll second that motion.
Thank you both. Any further discussion?
I
I
think
just have one, when would this start?
July 1st.
July 1st. We're gonna have a sign by July 1st?
Yeah, that's probably, make sure.
Blue Earth does provide a lot of material to us. A lot of the packets that I shared with you were directly from Blue Earth,
Okay.
so they'll be very helpful, I'm sure. So motion's been made and seconded. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. All right, with that, we'll move on to appointments to boards and commissions. Are there any appointments this evening?
I have none.
Okay.
I have one. I'd like to put Nancy Brault forward for the Inland Wetlands Commission, a full position on the Inland Wetlands Commission.
Great. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. John, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. That's it?
Yep.
Okay, great. We'll move on to refunds of excess payments.
I make a motion for a refund of excess payment for Susan M. Coleman for $50.31.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payment for Matthew McBrien, $144.91.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? Motion carries. Great. Move on to status reports. I'll be brief. Last time I spoke about our water search. Ryan and I have been working with GZA Environmental. We have 2 wells now that have been drilled at our Portland Rec Complex. And the initial preliminary look at the wells is very positive. One of the wells I think is 330 feet, and then the other is about 180 feet, somewhere around there. And so we don't know it's too early to say yet, because we have to have another team to come out to do the pump testing, and they're gonna come out in July. And that's really where we're gonna find out the two most important things. How much water can we output from these wells, and what the water quality is of these wells as well. And so I will say our engineer's been very encouraged by what we've seen so far as the pressure, and I mean, I think there was a lot of water that shot up into the air, right, initially, right?
A lot of hydrostatic pressure when they were drilling, and then the initial drawdown that they saw on the deeper well was only 1 foot 4 inches, I think, which is very good. So he thinks we're gonna have enough water, but it's all yet to be determined.
Yeah, so TBD, but we're moving forward, making progress on that. 248 Brownstone Avenue. I think I spoke last time about the scale house, the building in the middle of the property coming down. It was set to come down a couple weeks before Memorial Day, but we could not get the approval from the State Historical Preservation Office, waiting on the SHPO certificate. Cost us, and we did get it. We got it last week, and however, they need to remobilize in order to take that building down now. But that is moving forward, and that will complete the remediation there with their.
You mentioned last week that you found another unknown tank, is that?
Yeah, I think that's actually already been removed. So they have been doing work. Enviro has been down remediating, but they could do everything but take out that building, the scale house building, because they needed that SHPO certificate or approval in order to do that. So that was a little hang up, unfortunately, but that's moving forward now. It has been deemed non-historic, so that's a good thing. And I think that's it, unless anybody has any questions for me on any projects or anything. Okay.
I think we're good.
Ralph?
Yeah, I just, the only thing I think that's met since we last met was library board, so just a couple of things of note. One is that they, the directors did pass approve a policy for security cameras and the policy on those cameras. And I think they were just gonna, wanted to pass it by the staff as well. So that, they had done that. And they also had a discussion about a long-range plan for the library, and they talked about, sometimes towns get consultants to do the work, sometimes, and there was another option that the state of Connecticut is putting together, whoever's interested in towns, and to have a larger effort done. And so they're just, at this time, they're just discussing alternatives and weighing them, so those are the two items of note, I think.
Thanks, Ralph.
I just have a quick question on the status of the track. I know they're not starting to July. What would be the expectation over the summertime of what they'll get done, say between now and beginning of the school year?
Bob, do you mind giving an
Yeah.
update? I know I was watching the Board of Ed meeting last night. I was having a hard time hearing you though when you did give I think there was an audio problem.
Speak into the mic.
Yeah, so we had our pre-construction meeting this week, a very successful meeting. The engineering group SLR worked with Classic Turf, and we went out and spent quite a bit of time looking at the track. So in a nutshell, to make it easy, is they're going to start to mobilize the end of June, and their start date of July 1st is solid, and they will be off and running from there. So their projection is still the early fall. But hopefully with weather, and those changes may affect that, but hopefully they'll affect it in a positive way. They're ready to go. So we did, I sent some information to DPW Director Ryan O'Haplin that we were able to secure the fencing that was requested at no charge. So they will disassemble it for us and roll it up in anywhere from 40 to 50 foot lengths, tie it off. It's going to be our responsibility to make sure that we move that, so we're trying to gather some pallets to help that cause, because we do get those at the school. I'm also looking for a location up there to temporarily store it way out, maybe in one of the fields, so that it'll give it enough time for the town to look for maybe a more permanent spot, not during their busiest time of year. So we hope to be able to move it quickly, because the only thing they ask is that we can move that fence out of the way so they could start their work. So we're going to gain 1,600 feet of fence that's in pretty decent shape. The poles uprights will not be, but we're also going to save all the top rail. So that'll be available for the town to use anywhere they feel necessary that could be installed. So hopefully that'll be a big savings to help some of your conversations on some of the areas in town that might need to be secured. So we'll be doing that as well.
Great. One of the things that we're doing over the next week or so is the track coasters, Isha, myself, Deb, and some parents that are interested, we're talking about securing or setting up our first like invitational track meet, for example, next spring. We have to start talking now with other schools and kind of getting that set up and stuff. We've talked to Frank about it. So do you think realistically everything will be done and we'll be running on that track by next spring?
24, spring of 24?
Yeah, spring of 24.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We're hoping to get some activities on it by the fall of 23.
Okay, so I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, yeah, so I don't see anything. You know, there's an awful lot of product that's going to be available in the form of millings. We're doing it a little differently because it is a post-tension track. So, you know, we have probably 4 to 5 inches of asphalt there. So I've been working and sent, you know, information out to Ryan. But, you know, there's places and locations to use that before we take it out of town. They're willing to truck it for us and drop us in any locations that they need as far as the millings, which will be useful if we can. I know you have a lot of projects going on in town that are going to have millings, so we need places to put them. But those particular millings will be in good shape because they've been covered. The rubberized will be separated from the track, and then that will be milled so that asphalt underneath there is some good stuff. So whatever we could do to save for the future off of that track that we don't need to anything for the sub base, we'll certainly make available before, and they're willing to do that. Less trucking for them to a closer location is a quicker turnaround of that milling process, so, which will help their schedule. So that's where we are.
Thank you.
Cool.
It's more for general discussion, but Bob's already up there. You probably told us before, what is gonna happen to the old tanker?
So the old tanker, as a matter of fact, in my book right there, I have a form, a vehicle information form for it to go out to auction.
Okay.
So, I mean, it's not safe to, obviously, to drive in an emergency mode, but, you know, the truck will serve a purpose for some rural town, maybe up in Maine. We've had interest already, but we certainly have to go through the process for the auction, and hopefully those towns that are interested will participate in the auction.
Okay.
And we'll be able to move that. It's you know, it's still operating and it runs.
Yeah.
So, and we make sure of that because it's going to give us a better selling point. We don't want it to sit and not be used, and then, you know, we'll have some issues. But yeah, it's a good running truck as far as someone to use it. A lot of departments have multiple backup tankers and they don't run in emergency mode. You know, that's not kind of what we do here, but certainly up in rural Maine and some of those areas are certainly looking for those trucks to be able to shuttle water.
So is that something like by the end of summer or fall, you hope to be getting rid of it?
Well, they'll have the information. That'll be up to the town and how they want to do their auctions, because they split them up between material and vehicles. So it'll be available. It's available now whenever they want to try to auction that.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Brad. Any other status reports? Seeing none, we'll move on to public comment. Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to comment? Is there anyone in the chat? I don't see anyone. All right, going once. With that, we'll move on to Board of Selectmen general informal discussion. Does anybody have anything?
I just have a question. We got a copy, as you know, the board did, of the agenda for the RiverCog meeting, and I sat in on it a couple weeks ago. Historically, who did we have on that group? Who represented Portland at RiverCog? I know at some point we did.
I'm on the RiverCog board.
Because what surprised me when I was on that meeting that day, I was listening in, obviously, but we were the only one that didn't, from the area towns that wasn't there.
Which meeting are you referring to, Jen?
The one that we got the agenda for, it was an evening meeting a couple weeks ago.
I don't know if that was the Council of Governments meeting, is that what you're referring to?
The Lower Connecticut River Valley Regional Planning Committee, River Valley.
Yeah, but they have, there's a number of different, it could have been like the land trust.
They were talking, and what's why I thought it would have been helpful for us to be involved with that. They were talking about proposed legislation and the impact on towns. And I was just curious if we have in the past had anybody involved in that.
Yeah, so I attend all the COG meetings. We meet on a monthly basis on, I want to say it's the fourth.
So this was a
Wednesday.
subcommittee of that?
It must have been a subcommittee, and we don't, the COG meets during the day. It typically doesn't meet in the evening. That could have been there must have been for a special reason. I don't recall this exact meeting,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, we're very involved with
Just wanted to make sure we had a presence, that's all.
Oh, yeah, no, we are definitely involved with the Council of Governments, and in fact, John, if you ever, or anyone would like to attend a meeting, typically we mostly meet virtually, but every other month, every 3 months, we meet in person. And if any selectman would like to attend, you're more than welcome to come to a COG meeting with me. It's really informational. There's people from Congressman like Larson's office, Congressman Courtney's office. Our two U.S. senators have representatives there. They go over, Carol Conklin, who's our regional election monitor, gives an update. We go over many different bills that are coming up before us. And it's a good thing to be at. So if anyone's interested, please join me. It's good. So thank you, John.
And one other thing, I've made a note of it just as I walked out of the house tonight. I heard on the news, one of the items that just passed, the new bill that's, I guess, effective October 1st, is red light cameras. And towns will have an opportunity to sign up and implement those if they choose. We don't have too many stoplights, I think, are on Portland roads, but I could think of a couple of them, like by the schools, where it might be something we'd be interested in, so.
It's something to consider,
Yeah.
certainly.
So,
Good.
Do you have an update for the solar for the dump yet?
I do not. I guess I have this,
No,
if
don't.
you can call this an update. I reached out last week to ask again, and I guess there's some pending legal dispute that is holding the awards up. That's the reason for the delay.
Okay.
There's something's contested or something, and so I guess that might need to be resolved before they can announce the winners. So that's the reason there is a delay due to that. But yeah, good question.
Do you have an update for the sidewalks? Either project?
Yes, Ryan, do you want to give an update on, primarily we've been working on the connectivity sidewalk grant, the steep sidewalk grant, that's the Main Street one. That's still with Jacobson, our town engineers, and they're still working on that, but we're almost out to bid on the connectivity grant, I believe.
So yeah, we're very close. I have a meeting tomorrow morning with the homeowner of 1 Riverside Street, and the telephone poles need to move into their front yard, and there's some tree trimming required. And she just had concerns of which branches are coming down. As long as we get that squared away and she agrees that we can do that, it can move forward to go out to bid.
Okay.
And then we also, I believe we need to purchase a electrical handhole. Since the poles are moving across the street, there's one underground electrical line that'll need to go into a junction box. And this is just Eversource covers moving the poles, moving the lines, but they don't cover the handholds and tree trimming. So the town will have to fund that, but shouldn't be a problem.
Okay. While you're there, I have one more. Same thing as with Shay. Do we have anticipation of selling any town equipment? I know the old roll-off truck.
The old roll-off, I was given advice to sell it when I first got here, and then you know, we had a minor issue with some emissions on the new roll-off, and now the mechanic at the time, Chris, who had left, but he advised keeping the Mac because it'll run forever as long as we keep up with maintenance. Obviously, I need to price up what it's going to cost to get that runnable again, and then think about running it every once in a while to keep it up. But right now, I don't anticipate auctioning that yet.
Okay. Do we have other equipment that's not used, or?
I believe there's a box truck that's going up for auction, an 07 box truck. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, we're waiting on the title to it.
Okay. That's the only one right now. I gotta look at the Crown Vic that's parked at Town Hall and see if I can move. There's one extra vehicle, an older Explorer from 2012, that we could possibly move in its place. But yeah, not decided on that yet.
Okay.
Thanks, Ryan.
No problem.
All right, any other informal discussion?
No, I'm good today.
Okay, and I don't have anything for follow-up items this evening. We do have an executive session for the purposes of contract negotiations, preliminary draft, subject to change, on the fixed assessment agreement with BRT DeMarco PTP LLC. So what we'll do is we're going to, we'll have a motion, enter executive session, and then if you could end the stream, and when we come out of that, there's no other further action tonight, so we'll just adjourn the meeting at that time, and I'll make a note of what time we adjourn, so you don't have to wait, Sharon, and we'll go from there. So with that, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we enter executive session.
Okay,
Second that motion.
thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone, and have a good night.